I'm bored.
Oh, just download Headball 2 for your phone.
What's Headball 2?
What's Headball 2? It's the super anticipated sequel to Headball 1, and probably the prequel to Faceball 2000, where you use your giant head and tiny foot nub to score on your opponent. It's like Pong, but with decapitated cartoon heads. They even got John Motson to do the in-game commentary.
Who's John Motson?
He's like the English John Madden.
Why didn't they get John Madden? It is football, after all.
Wrong kind of football, idiot! Not to mention, there's customizable characters, booster card packs, special abilities, teams you can fill your friends with, a leaderboard, and much, much more.
Check out the link in the description below to download Headball 2 for Android and iOS and get 5,000 game coins.
Download Headball 2 today, unless you don't have the balls.
Or a head on your shoulders.
Oh.
All right, so I take it everybody's really excited for this one here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about Demolition Man, so I don't think we can do an intro this week.
No
sorry.
time. Let's go.
No time.
In the far-off future of 1996.
Because the movie was 93.
Yeah.
Now, when I first heard about this movie, it was actually a pretty good promotional thing. Was that it was on the news. They had they were showing behind the scenes of this new Stallone movie, Demolition Man, because they were actually demolishing a building, and I think they picked somebody out of a crowd to go up and hit the detonator to blow it up, and it was really cool. To see it happen live on TV. And then I was like, well, I got to check out this Demolition Man movie. And I didn't know anything about the plot. I just assumed it was about Stallone playing a demolition man whose job is to demolish buildings.
That would make more sense because the name, it's just like his nickname, and that's why the movie's called that.
The name
sucks.
The name is supposed to be badass, but it points out how incompetent he is. He can't get into any situation without causing extreme collateral damage.
Well, the situation is in 1996, because this came out in 93 and the LA riots happened in 92, so LA was kind of...
I love how they decided it was going to get worse and not better.
Yeah.
So, it's bad now, it's going to be on fire later.
Yeah, it starts with the Hollywood sign on fire. LA is torn apart. Planes don't land there anymore. When buses go there, people get kidnapped. The LAPD has a military with Humvees and all this shit. So it starts off extremely badass, and then
it goes to a peaceful, happy, perfect, crime-free, future.
Well, the one thing I like though is John Spartan is a detective, and apparently, I guess LA detectives hop out of helicopters with just a strap, not even a bungee cord, but a strap, and he falls a few hundred feet, it looks like. And he's cool. He's
the great tactician that the Demolition Man is, instead of being sneaky with his approach, he jumps out shooting the gun, screaming, "Feed it!" Screaming the bad guy's name.
So then they get frozen. Him and the villain, played by Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, he gets, we should mention, he gets set up. The guy kidnapped the bus. And then they say that when John Spartan blew up the building, he accidentally killed the hostages.
Killed everybody.
Turns out they were already dead. But they don't know that.
Yeah, which is funny because you don't find that out. It's a throwaway line later in the movie when he's trying to kill him in this future car, and it's voiceover. And I'm like, that would have been important to know more. Anyway, but so not only in 1996 is LA the worst city in America.
The only thing that did happen in 96, I think it was 96, was that Escape from L.A.
So
if you count that as being pretty apocalyptic, then...
So not only do they have this awful thing going on, but now in 3 years from 93 to 96, they have cryo technology.
Yes.
So now they are freezing prisoners, and they serve their sentence in a frozen block.
And somehow,
it's kind of like Austin Powers before Austin Powers.
And somehow the prisoners in the frozen facility survived the devastating earthquake that shocked L.A.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were there was this earthquake. It's but the freezing facilities, I guess they were the only ones that were
underground or something like that.
Well, the thing is,
really
if you go to LA now, you'll notice that parking structures and buildings are built in such a way that they like vibrate opposite of the earthquake. So so the cryo facility is earthquake proof.
Okay,
but
good.
everything else is not.
Okay.
Because eventually they show a museum of what the big quake did to kill everybody and all that stuff.
Right.
But anyway, so they have this frozen technology, and they put these synaptic suggestion things on your head that make you a better person. So that way, when you get out in 40 years or whatever, you come out and you're a good member of society.
Yeah, like Stallone is really good at knitting. That's what they put in his head.
I love that part because
though.
He's so pissed off that he's able to knit. It's like what's the big deal? Okay, you can knit. You have a new talent now. But he's just like, oh, I knit now. He doesn't like it because it's like it's a threat to his masculinity or something.
He's like, Phoenix comes out of the refrigerator like this super assassin for reasons in the film, and I come out as seamstress.
Yeah,
but he makes a nice sweater for Sandra Bullock.
I like that part where he's like, I made you a sweater, and she's like, wow, for me, and she's like, oh, after like the night they had where they kind of had.
We'll talk about the sex.
The most disappointing sex scene ever.
Yeah, pretty much.
So anyway, they go into the future, and the future is like one that like if Google took over 100%.
Yeah.
So no spicy food. Everything's a thought crime. You can't say things right or it beeps. Like for example, if I say fuck, a thing beeps, and it gives you a ticket. You're not allowed to do that. It's made society way better and more productive because you see LA. There's no traffic. Everything's nice. Everyone's happy except for those who are deep under the city.
Except for Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary at the height of Dennis Leary,
who is playing Dennis Leary.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he really is.
But we'll talk about the underground people later because I have a whole thing to talk about him. But the future's great. Arnold Schwarzenegger was president.
Apparently,
God willing,
which is the first time
president.
Oh God, which is the first time he made that joke in the Expendables. They bring it up again.
I will vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger twice if he ever seriously.
If they
please,
well, no, what
if
they got to
there's
do
an
is
earthquake and they rewrite the Constitution.
Okay.
What
was it? The 61st Amendment. Please introduce the 61st Amendment so we can.
The 61st Amendment, right? So 61st Amendment, we get Arnold as president. 62nd Amendment, life-term president, and then we're good. We have
Arnold forever.
Yeah.
They never say what's happening with the rest of the world other than the Arnold thing. That's the only thing we know about the rest of the world is that Arnold was the president at one point.
You do know that New York exists because there's a part where Wesley Snipes is like, unfreeze all my boys, but none of those uptight New York motherfuckers. and everyone's like, oh yeah, New York's probably still a city. So New York's still around.
Yeah.
So I love that cursing is illegal in the future.
Yeah.
And how insignificant it really is. Like, it's not really enforceable, even though they print out these tickets. Stallone basically well, that's a whole other story. He can't figure out a way to wipe his ass when he goes to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And he just curses again and again and again just so he can use the tickets as toilet paper.
Yeah, as toilet paper because they only have the 3 seashells.
Yeah. Do we want to get into that now? The 3 seashells?
There's theories and diagrams for how you use it, but it's just so confusing.
I saw it was you poop into the seashell and then you scrape your asshole with the seashell or something. And then the third one, I don't know.
I think explaining it or trying to figure out
it's not the point.
It ruins the whole thing. Like I know people have made diagrams and stuff. It's like that's not what it's about.
Well,
the whole thing
imagine
is
let's pretend that you don't know how to wipe your ass now, which may be the case. I'm not sure. Let's pretend, right?
Okay.
And then you come out and you go like, "Hey, you're out of what? Like I don't know how to do it." And then Rob Schneider's like, "Ha, you don't know how to do it."
Yeah.
Like Rob Schneider is the worst, best casting in this film.
but he was so good they had to put him in Judge Dredd. Also,
I will say the best thing about this is that he's used very sparingly. Unlike Judge Dredd, where they decided he needed to be a sidekick and it was terrible.
Well, I imagine our Stallone's like, I really like this guy. We're work with him again.
The guy's pretty funny.
In Judge Dredd, please. like, why is he the one who makes it over to Judge Dredd?
So I guess as we're going through the movie, so he's in the future and he's doing this stuff, and Simon Phoenix gets out and murders a guy, and the warden.
Murder, death, kill.
Yeah,
and
not a murder. It's a murder, death, kill.
Murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill.
Murder, death, kill.
Last recorded offense, September 25th, 2010.
Man, they should make a new MDK game. Remember those?
Yeah.
Those are good.
They were fun. Yeah, they were good shooters.
To the point where he needs to do like a retina scan machine, and instead of just holding up the guy's head, they rip out his eye.
And as a nostalgia critic pointed out, great name, Phoenix, for a guy who Stallone, every time he pronounces it, it sounds like he's saying penis. Penis!
Simon Penis! Simon Penis.
I want to say about the eyeball, this movie started my fear of having things go into eyeballs. That needle scarred me so much. And then a few years ago, I cut my eyeball, so I had to live out my fear.
There's also the awful scene from one that what was that Halloween movie we just watched, where the thing goes into the guy's eye.
What was the Halloween movie?
It was in like the haunted house.
House on Haunted Hill?
No, I know. Hellfest. Yeah.
Hellfest.
Yeah.
They do it in that with an awful eye and like it goes in.
I can't do it. I can't.
And they do it in Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
I hate
My thing is like fingernails and toenails. Like I can't stand that. That's the worst.
Dude, imagine if we put someone's fingernails in your eyeball.
I did that, okay? I scratched my eyeball on accident. And then they had to put needles in it to fix it. It was the worst thing in the world.
I'm glad the solution to fix your scratch cornea is to put more needles in it.
It wouldn't heal right, so they had to rough it up with a needle. It was I mentioned Demolition Man before they did the surgery, and the nurses were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Did you not see that movie?"
Did you ever play Dead Space 2? I think it is, where there's a scene where they have to. You have to control this machine that has a needle that's like laser guided, and it's going to the dude's eyeball. And if you don't do it the right way, it goes like
I can't do it
all through him. And the guy's kind of like he's moving, so you have to like keep following it to get it right to the
what's great is the whole point of this is Tony, you're gonna have to edit all these things in there.
Anything else? Literally anything else.
I'll get out of it with just a broad statement about Demolition Man. Is that this movie, I see it as like the mirror equivalent of Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
Because this was a time where I think there was like a golden age of action movies where this was kind of like at the end of it. I think it peaked with Terminator 2. I think like one of the greatest movies ever. And then when Last Action Hero and Demolition Man all came out, that was when people were starting to become, self-aware about it. It was sort of like, okay, let's make fun of the cliches. Yeah. Let's,
Action heroes were changing, too, with, like, Bruce Willis being not, like, this super built guy. And then, eventually have Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Who was more slim. So this is kind of like the end of the muscle-bound, like, hero, kind of.
Like the over-the-top. Yeah. Well, there's a movie over the top, but I mean, like, the whole...
Oh, yeah. Which, the best way to own this movie is a double feature with Demolition Man and Over the Top. And I like to take the disc and flip it like a coin and just throw it in the DVD player and surprise myself. So one, you'll get, Demolition Man, great. And then Tails is Over the Top. And you're like, well, this sucks.
So it is like,
it's a fun game to play.
They are both good for different reasons.
Yeah.
Well,
but it kind of got like a little more intellectual at a certain point because it was like Demolition Man is actually a pretty smart movie.
It's really smart. Predicted a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But when it came out, it was just looked at as like
kind of bombed to a degree. Yeah.
And I didn't see it till it came out on video, and I was like, this is like actually. I mean, I was a sucker for those future movies where like it's a vision of the future. And it's got that fish out of water character. If you have a movie in that theme, it's like, I'm just going to be drawn to it.
It's always fun, yeah.
We definitely got to talk about Taco Bell now.
Oh, right.
As you can see, I have my Taco Bell stuff. I got my Taco Bell hat. I got my Taco Bell shirt.
Wait,
my Taco Belly.
Why are you wearing so much Taco Bell?
So, in the movie, all restaurants are Taco Bell because Taco Bell won the franchise wars.
I'm sorry, don't you mean Pizza Hut? For our British viewers.
In the international version of this movie, it's not Taco Bell.
That's right.
It's Pizza Hut.
What I don't get though is that scene where they hand him a bunch of nachos. Though at the one scene, like, do they change it to tiny little pizzas?
They kind of look like tiny little pizzas.
Yeah, they could be, I guess. But like, I feel like people. It's kind of like when, like in Britain, G.I. Joe is Action Force.
Yeah.
Or like Ninja Turtles was Hero Turtles. When I went to Ireland as a kid, I was like, the hell is Action Force? Like this isn't Baron Iron Face or whatever. It's Cobra Commander. Like, what are you talking about?
So were you mad when you saw the Pizza Hut?
No, I remember where was it? I think you showed it to me. Just like how it's literally just Photoshop into scenes.
Yeah.
Where it's just the Pizza Hut logo.
I actually did a whole. documentary on Taco Bell called "Did You Know Taco Bell?" You can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah,
I
with
guess.
Andrew WK.
With Andrew WK, where he narrated it. Yeah, and I show that Taco Bell went from their old logo to their new purple logo because of Demolition Man, because they liked what they came up with. So
the Taco Bell restaurants shown in the movie display a custom futuristic Taco Bell logo. Taco Bell loved the redesigned pink, purple, and yellow logo so much that they modified their existing yellow bell to match the Demolition Man version.
I got this because last year at San Diego Comic-Con, where at the San Diego Convention Center, that's where they filmed a lot of the driving scenes in the movie because it looks so futuristic. And that's where they built a fake 25th anniversary Demolition Man Taco Bell where you could go and order. And they had all this swag there. So I was like, please, someone get me the stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that. But it's like an actual Taco Bell employee hat. It feels like it. For me working at fast food places back in the day.
Yeah.
But it has the new logo on it. So that's exciting.
That is cool.
I like it.
And I'll wear it backwards because it's cool.
It's more over the top. You gotta make that switch. You turn it around.
Turn it
or
around.
Ash Ketchum.
Yeah.
When he's about to fight a Pokemon.
Yeah, so...
I love that there's a museum of violence in the movie.
Yeah.
Museum.
The Hall of Violence.
Yeah.
What's
and
your
they keep
boggle?
all the bullets in the guns there, which just...
Even the laser guns, because it's the future.
The rail gun that they had.
They neutered society in such a way that they could just have bullets and guns laying around in cases because no one's going to go for them.
Yeah.
And
then laser discs are the dominant media in the year 2030.
Well, it's a tiny laser disc, which makes sense.
Which isn't that called a CD?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah, he had a tiny
They were
laser disc.
small. Okay.
It was smaller and it had a little clasp.
So it predicted DVDs.
It did.
Yeah.
Wow.
And iPads.
Which are digital. Laser disc was analog. But
PSP games. It could have...
he's using a USB.
Yeah, probably that.
That, I want to talk about that scene after. Well, let's talk about the sex scene first, because then we can get into all the tech.
Yeah.
So in the future, physical fluid transfer is outlawed. You can't high five. You're going to do the high five.
Yeah, that weird.
I want to do it with him, not you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
There you go. There you go. You think you're washing a car?
Because it was awkward. It was with my left hand.
Yeah. So
otherwise I got to reach it across like this, and that's not
basically with the downfall of humanity. They're like, we don't have sex anymore, or as Stallone calls the hunka chunka.
Yeah,
because
it was weird when he says that. He's like the hojo mama, the hunka chunka.
Yeah, that's an ad lib.
What the fuck? Like, I don't want to hear this.
Because they mentioned because AIDS was real big in the 90s. After AIDS, there was an extra. There's an even bigger STD.
After AIDS, there was NRS. After NRS, there was UBT, and after UBT, there was UB40, the band.
Yeah, UB40, the band.
Yeah. So basically, in 1993, whenever this movie came out, they just made things worse. LA gets worse, STDs and stuff get worse. Everything got worse, so society had to clamp down, including on your rights and what you say, because it hurts others and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So now when people have sex, they have a machine you put on your head, and then... you go into the Event Horizon flash scenes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that scene was so weird because I was 13 when I saw that, and just like what is going on here? This is just almost thinking you're going to see a sex scene or something, and then that happens. You don't know what you're going to see exactly. It's it's R.
Yeah, it's
movie.
To be fair, I think they realized people would get disappointed, so they threw a naked girl in the next scene where John Spartan gets a wrong call and it's just a naked girl and she's like, wrong number.
So they do the sex scene and he's not into it, and it's a whole thing because everything's mental. And I think who was watching it? Me and Kieran. Yeah. We're like, you know what? That'd be pretty awesome, actually.
A lot of people, when they watch this movie, they think Sandra Bullock is his daughter. Because remember, he had a family.
Gosh.
But it doesn't work because it's too far ahead in the future. She would be the wrong age, even though there is cryo-freezing. And there was a deleted scene at the end where he gets reunited with his actual daughter, who is one of the underground people.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of people watch this movie, they don't really put the dates together, and they all assume that Sandra Bullock is his daughter, and they get real uncomfortable with that scene.
I actually wish the movie was farther ahead in the future, he was 100 years in the future.
Oh, yeah. It does seem all the stuff happened, because first, LA had to go to complete shit.
In 3 years.
And then it had to, become... completely like they ban crime and everything. That all happens like really fast if you try to put it all.
Yeah,
but then
there's that one cop who's like older now.
Yeah,
Like I guess
he was the helicopter pilot.
But was that
Grand
important?
L. Bush?
Yeah, but was that important to have that character in it? Because I'm trying to remember.
I think it was. Yeah, because he talks more about John Spartan to like hype them up about it. I think he's all like, yeah, John Spartan was the greatest, blah blah blah.
It'd be kind of cool if he wasn't like 60 or 70 or whatever. He was like 100 years old, but he's still a cop because you're not doing anything, so you're just at a desk all day. And
also, shouldn't he be like informed? Like, when the people get murdered, they're all shocked. Shouldn't he be like, hey guys, this used to happen a lot. Calm down. This is just one.
But if shit hasn't gone down in 40 years or something like that, or well, at that point, so 2010, so it's only been like 26 years.
Okay.
Since the earthquake.
Yeah.
So that means society has only been together for 20 years, which isn't that long of a time.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to forget.
Not enough to. No, that's definitely not long enough to completely forget like violence and murder and stuff.
It's a great science fiction premise.
Well, the whole point is, listen, don't go too utopian, don't go too dystopian. Let's find middle ground. Yeah. And that was the whole point of combining.
Like the resolution.
Yeah. Because the whole point of the movie was to get the police chief, who sometimes they call captain for some reason, and then also Edgar Friendly together.
Yes.
And then society would kind of mellow out.
Who was the police chief guy? Who was that?
Oh, that was
I forget the actor's name, but he's been in a lot of stuff.
I forget his name too.
So
I like that. I kind of like that ending too, where they're just like, all right, we're going to use the best of both worlds. Let's try to combine it.
The best. One of the best parts of the movie that I thought was interesting is, remember when when he gets the UMD disc, like you were talking about, and he's watching the surveillance footage of Phoenix shooting at Cocteau and the guy who looks like me.
Yeah.
Oh, Otho from Beetlejuice.
Otho from Beetlejuice. He looks like a couch.
Glenn Shaddix.
Glenn Shaddix. He was great. I met him. He was great.
The voice of Nimbar from the Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills.
Shoot that fucking show.
So anyway,
I fucking love that show.
It's a scene where they're doing the surveillance footage, but unlike other movies where they would just show shots they already filmed, they show actual stuff that looks like security camera footage.
Yeah, they must have watched Star Trek 3 and was like, that's not how you do it. We're going to do it right.
I always hate in movies when it's like supposed to be what's it called? These cameras that are just catching all of it, but they're cinematic and they're showing everything we saw. It's like, wow, those are some really well directed security cameras. Like they must have like a cinematography degree or something, you know.
And can we talk about Jack Black in the movie?
Oh yeah,
for like
he's just
seconds.
there for like a second. And Jesse Ventura shows up for a second.
So there's a scene where, remember, they're underground and Edgar Friendly, what the hell's his name?
Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary goes on his rant, and they're all holding guns to them underground.
Which
Jack Black is just there.
Yeah. He had to have written that himself, because that sounds like something right out of his stand-up from that time.
He was like, if I want to walk around with the Playboy magazine and...
Yeah.
And following that is the worst scene of the movie. They get like the rat burger and they do all that stuff, and then they find Edgar Friendly and they're like, "Tell us what you know about what's going on up there and what the thing is." And then it cuts to all the bad guys together that have been unfrozen: Jesse Ventura, Simon Phoenix, and they're like, "We're gonna take back the town. We're gonna kill everyone." And then 1 second later, they find the good guys and start shooting at them.
Yeah, which made me feel like, are they just in the other room right now having this whole meeting, and it just happens to be in the same?
I love how dumb Cocteau is, because his plan for Simon Phoenix was to program all this stuff into him, but make him controllable. And then Simon Phoenix is like, "Hey, I'm gonna need help. Can you unfree some of my friends?" He's like, "Oh, sure. People who I didn't program anything into, let me just let them out of their cages."
And then they shoot him.
So of course they kill him right away. Like, you idiot.
And then they put another log on the fire. And it's so horrific how Cocteau lands in the fire.
Oh yeah, his leg is like wedged up into the ceiling. Like, it's actually like, we were like, wow, that
also,
was.
What was their crimes gonna be like? What were they going to do in this society? Are they going to sell drugs? These people don't do drugs.
Yeah, there are no drugs, probably.
What were they going to do? This society is so polite. If they need money, they wouldn't have to rob people. They could probably just ask people for money.
They'll sell illegal sex helmets or something.
That's the point, right? Cocteau got so far away from his own mission to get it 100% perfect as a perfectionist that everything falls to shit.
They'll sell those helmets to Wookiees.
Wow. You know what I me.
So there's a scene where a guy's gonna stab him with a knife, and he gets shot and then falls over.
Yeah.
It's shot for shot from the Smooth Criminal Michael Jackson music video.
Really?
Oh yeah, we'll
Wow.
put it side by side. He goes, ugh, and it's like the same exact shot for shot.
Wait, you know what's really mean in this movie? John Spartan is a dick. When he has to test out the taser and he just tases a random dude.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you probably gave that guy brain damage. You're the hero.
Whoa, it's called a glow rod.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I will say, I was saying this to Justin the entire time. Wesley Snipes, after this movie, he should have been Joker.
Yeah, he is.
He would be a perfect Joker. Yeah. Everything he did, the jokes he would say, like all his like remarks, the laughter, he would have made an incredible Joker.
I was gonna say a lot of his stuff in this movie feels like kind of like the Joker in the Dark Knight. Oh, yeah. But like the Joker in the Dark Knight, he has no real purpose. He's just doing crime. Yeah. A lot of there is like a Batman Joker mentality in this film.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I like the fact that because he's like now he's in a future world where everything is like too easy. There's not like law enforcement is not prepared to like deal with him. Yeah. So he actually gets the chance to be a little bored. Like oh gee, I can just like break into stuff and like nobody can do anything. It's like so then
he seems like disappointing.
Yeah, like he has to do it not as like a crime as like a necessity, but like a crime as like entertainment for himself. Like he has to do it to like
because there's a part where they show all of his charges on the screen, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of stuff, and it was just 1986. Yeah, like he must have had this list.
They show a list of prisoners, and isn't who's the one killer?
Jeffrey Dahmer? I love this guy.
Jeffrey Dahmer died a few years later, I think, but I'm like, that's funny. Like Jeffrey Dahmer they were still holding on to Jeffrey Dahmer in the future.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he got killed by his cellmate, I think.
Yeah,
there were also video games like the 3DO game, which is actually really tough but fun.
There's isn't fun. I hate that. Yeah.
Well, they use live action stuff.
Well,
which is
that's one thing I will say. Stallone is in that movie acting on a green screen.
Oh, the game.
On the game. I mean, on the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in it.
He says you suck.
Acted in the whole game.
He makes fun of you. He's like, you suck.
Yeah. No, that game is fucking.
There's
terrible.
Also a pinball machine, which is one of my favorite pinball machines.
Oh yeah,
because you can use the cryo crane to lift up the ball and move it and stuff. And what's interesting about the pinball thing was I think there was a lawsuit where if you look at the posters and all the stuff for the movie, all the promotional stuff, it's always Wesley Snipes on one side and Stallone on the other side looking at each other. But on the pinball machine, you also have Sandra Bullock's head the same size. And I'm pretty sure there was a lawsuit where she had to be on that kind of marketing material, and that's why they're all the same head size. If you look at the Last Action Hero pinball machine, his head takes up 90% of the fucking frame. But in this one, they had to switch it around. So I'm pretty sure there's a lawsuit.
They probably had a thing in their contract that said like, my face will be as big as this guy's face.
Yeah.
If you're doing that.
You guys could keep talking.
You getting a cryo cube. There you go.
I thought that gum was like 30 years old.
It only tastes like 3 years old.
Oh, okay.
I think the movie's it's like poetry. It's fantastic. It starts with fire, ends with ice. There's so much foreshadowing with the lines. It's like I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached.
Yeah.
And then the most horrific scene at the end where Simon Phoenix's head shatters against the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Great soundtrack. Super memorable lines. Fantastic casting.
Predicts the future, because like right now Sandra Bullock's character is obsessed with like the 90s and 80s.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that a lot lately.
Speaking of which, Sandra Bullock won the Razzie in 1994, 93 for this movie as worst supporting actress, and I was like, I thought she was great.
I thought she was pretty good.
She deserved it for All About Steve, not this movie.
Well, what's great about All About Steve is she actually accepted it.
Yeah, she did. She came with copies of her movie.
She was really like lovable in this movie. I was in love with her.
But unfortunately, this movie got no Oscar nominations. No. And, thanks to Schindler's List in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think Stallone, up until last year, is like still suing them because he apparently didn't get enough money from it. Like he was supposed to make a percentage of profits or whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And just to bring up Jurassic Park, I guess, which won Best Song of the Year. Why couldn't
Demolition Man had some competition?
Yeah. Well, no, not those songs. The song at the end that Sting sang.
I think that might have been a repurposed song, though.
I forgot about that.
I think that was a song Sting had, and they used it for the movie. I don't think
because he was like, Demolition Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Which is it the first song in the credits or is it later?
It's the first song.
The first song,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's pretty
But
fucking bad.
the thing is, I don't think that got picked for anything because one, no one liked this movie when it came out, and two, I think it was already a song they just used it, so it wasn't made that year.
Well, now that we've been talking straight for 30 minutes because we love this movie so much,
yeah.
do you have anything to
Actually,
say, James?
No, it's a great movie. I mean, it did what it had to do in that time because if this would have came, I couldn't see this movie coming out in the 80s. This was kind of like a post Golden Age action movie where they had to reinvent the same way that music had to do the same thing because the 80s you had metal and everything was like getting as crazy as it could get, and then in the 90s everybody kind of just like stopped and was like, okay, let's sort of reinvent, kind of start over and figure out like a new path to go.
It's my favorite Stallone movie of all time. Yeah.
More than Rocky?
More than Rocky.
Wow.
And I love Rocky, but I love Demolition Man way more.
He's right, because there are bad Rocky movies, but there's only one good Demolition Man.
Exactly.
There's never a sequel. Never a sequel.
Yeah.
It's never been tainted at all. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. And don't do anything. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Yeah, please don't remake it.
I mean, I love every Rocky movie, but
No, I love Rocky. I just love Demolition Man more.
Yeah.
I will say this. I actually will promise that you will like this movie if you watch it. As a matter of fact, I cross my heart, hope to die, stick a bunch of needles in Tony's eye.
Oh, come on.